Lee Murray is one of the most legit gangsters of all time. He really is.
He's the most gangster that ever gangstered.
Well, I'll fight anybody. I don't care who they are, what they've done. I couldn't give a shit. Who they are, I will fight them.
He was fighting in the UFC while he was a full-on criminal. Imagine a guy that's that good at MMA and fighting is actually a real bank robber. He was a part of the biggest bank robbery in like the history of Great Britain. A bunch of fighters put on tactical gear and robbed $50 million, where they came in with ski masks and bulletproof vests, machine guns, and then he jetted off to Morocco for a little bit, was hiding out over there, and then eventually got caught, and now he's in jail.
Look, he committed a crime. No one died. They nicked a few quid. There's worse atrocities going on in this country now. People getting less prison, but worse things. Something's drastically wrong. It's corrupt.
If you enjoy stories about legendary fighters, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's step into the world of Lee "Lightning" Murray. Born on November 12, 1977, Lee Murray grew up in the tough estates of South London with a British mother and Moroccan father.
Lee grew up in Woolwich. He grew up on a council estate, which is the equivalent of the projects.
His childhood was turbulent. His father, Brahim, was violent and often drunk until one day Lee fought back, knocking him out. Soon after, his father left, leaving Lee's mother to raise him and his younger sister. His childhood in Woolwich exposed him early to crime.
Barnfield Estate, it was full of armed robbers.
Yeah.
There was armed robbers fucking up there left, right and centre, driving their nice cars, looking good, dripping with gold.
And by his teens, he was running with a local gang known as the Buttmarsh Boys, fighting regularly to defend their turf.
From like the age of 15, I think it was, so I knew two things, the street and how to fight.
We almost became family, all the youth. I was like the big brother, the uncle. They had problems, they would come and tell me about it, and we'd go and sort it out. Lee, he was the main one for drama. And he would come to me quite a lot and tell me he's got a problem and someone was pissing him off. So we'd go to the person's house sometimes, knock on the door and arrange a fight there and then, go on the grass, and I'd referee the straightener between Lee and whoever he had the problem with. And yeah, it happened quite a lot.
Lee was kicking the fuck out of people that were like 4, 5, 6 years older than him, absolutely annihilating them.
His wild, windmilling, brawling style and protruding ears earned him the nickname Alien. Among the boys he grew up with was Paul Allen, a close friend who would remain by his side from street scraps to the world of professional fighting and later crime.
His best friend was Paul Allen. He was a known criminal, had previous for violence and all sorts, and was almost his wingman.
Paul and Lee, best mates?
They were best mates. They actually went to school together, primary school and infants and stuff like that. They known each other all their life.
As a teenager, Murray was expelled from school and sank deeper into street life, dealing cocaine and cannabis around the Barnfield estate while clashing with rivals.
It was hashish and maybe some trips and some ecstasy up until about 95. And then crack cocaine came in.
And what about you?
Changed everything.
Between the ages of 16 and 20, he was in and out of prison.
He was arrested multiple times for assault and theft, serving short spells in youth detention.
If there was a beef and he wanted to settle a score, Mark, I need you to come with me. You know, he was always fucking kicking off. Right. He was always kicking off.
By now, he had embraced the gangster image, building his physique in the gym, flaunting flashy cars, and intimidating even the local police. Fighting became his outlet. Murray claimed to be a veteran of hundreds of street fights, developing heavy hands through constant bare-knuckle scraps. Friends, including future accomplice Mark Epstein, swore they never saw him lose a fight. His fearsome reputation on the streets would soon carry him into a new arena, the world of mixed martial arts.
I wanted to document this so we had an accurate record of what really happened.
They were the first videos I ever watched. It was at UFC 1, UFC 2, Savage Combat with Pele. When I watched them, I thought, oh, I've got to learn this. So I noticed that whoever was good at jiu-jitsu was winning the fight.
I started getting to know Lee 14, 15, and he's bringing me goods. And I see potential in these kids from young. And Lee took me training. He was a brilliant fighter.
In the late 1990s, as he dodged jail time for gang activity, Lee Murray discovered mixed martial arts, still underground in the UK. In December 1999, he fought his first amateur bout at Millennium Brawl, winning by first-round knockout. Hooked, he began training seriously at London shoot fighters under the railway arches in southeast London. His hands were already hardened, each finger broken at least once, and what he lacked in polish he made up for with raw aggression and power. After his second fight, where he won by submission, Murray wanted to sharpen his skills. Determined to evolve beyond street fighting, he set his sights on America and joined Pat Militich's gym to work on his ground game, integrating wrestling and submissions into his style.
I think I got a phone call from him.
asking if he could come over and train. Then he flew over from England. I think that Lee was looking to improve his ground skills, improve his wrestling, and train with a bunch of killers and get some guidance possibly from me.
That training led him into a 4-man tournament in Wisconsin.
Lee Murray from London, England. I'm a valid judo fighter. I come here to fight today in the alternate bout, and I know nothing about the guy that I'm fighting, so I just wait and see what happens.
Where he reached the finals but lost by Kimura. After the loss, he set his sights on improving his jiu-jitsu and began training under veteran fighter Remco Pardal.
Lee Murray called me early 2000s. He trained jiu-jitsu at that time. I think he had 3 fights on his record. He just called, I'm Lee from UK and can I visit you for training? He showed up and we were cool from day one.
What was he like in the gym? Sort of 5 guys in my life, which are like so gifted to become the absolute best. Lee was one of them. Then I always put people in my parents' home. Because then, I don't know if you have money, if you have no money, you know, there's food and he has a bed and everything's fine. You don't need to think about it. So Lee really took care of my parents. He did the groceries, he helped my mama, he put 50 euros on the carpet for my mama, you know. He really took care of them, you know, like really friendly.
And he trained like an animal. And Lee was like relentless in it, going the extra mile.
In his next 5 fights, Murray went unbeaten, scoring a knockout of Gary Warren and a submission win against Kama Bumna.
What was his reputation like on the indie grind?
Kind of like tough. Be careful, big gangster, you know, like you want to be on the right side of it as such, you know.
He then aimed to sharpen his striking and linked up with respected British boxing trainer Terry Coulter.
Then I met Lee. So he was then looking for someone to help him with his hands, and that's where I come in. Someone rang me and said, oh, this guy's looking for a boxing trainer. He does MMA. I said, I don't do MMA. I spoke to him a couple of times on the phone, and I agreed to meet him. So I met him at the Peacock Gym. Good looking, well-built fella. Done a little session with him. I watched him shadowbox. His power was something else. You know, just such a natural talent. To see him where he is today, wow, breaks your heart.
In July 2002, the UFC brought Brawl at the Hall to London's Royal Albert Hall for UFC 38, the organization's long-awaited debut in England. Pat Militich's camp was invited as ambassadors for the event, and among them was Lee Murray, who attended alongside his new boxing coach, Terry Coulter, and his lifelong friend, Paul Allen.
We were the honorary guests.
For Murray, it was a breakthrough moment. This night was his first brush with the UFC spotlight and the beginning of real recognition as one of Britain's most dangerous rising talents. But that recognition wouldn't come from his performance inside the cage. It would come from the chaos that erupted later that night.
I didn't hear about Lee Murray until the night of that fight.
He liked going out. He loved dressing in flamboyant clothes. I mean, I used to put clothes on. I'd look at him and go, really? Like, you're going out like that? But he could. That was him.
Fights are over, we get bussed over to China White.
After the event, the fighters, coaches, and entourages gathered at a London nightclub to celebrate. Late into the night, tensions flared when someone from Tito Ortiz's group jokingly jumped on Pat Militich's back. Murray's camp mistook it for a real attack.
The whole thing started because 2 friends were playing around.
And within seconds, the misunderstanding erupted into a chaotic street brawl, an incident that would soon become part of MMA legend.
It had something to do with one of Tito's buddies was jumped on Pat Militich's back. One of Pat Militich's guys knocked him out. And then Lee Murray's guys went up jumping in on Pat Militich's side, which is all just a big misunderstanding. Like just trying to break it up. And some guy hits me in the back of my arm. Oh, you know you didn't. So I start walking at him, I take my watch out, put it in my pocket, and crow out, just drop it. And these guys were all fighting. And if I didn't know you and you're hitting somebody I knew, I just come on, just drop you. So, but the cops showed up. Well, I grabbed the first girl I saw and said, hey, you want to get some lunch? And just walk right by the cops. I was the only guy not detained that was in that fight. Walk right by.
Quick little 7 body count on the floor in the streets of England, and I'm out.
Yeah, it's more like 5.
And someone took a swipe at Paul Allen. Then Paul Allen knocked the geezer out. And then Lee was laughing, and then Tito went for Lee.
Witnesses claim Murray traded punches with Ortiz and dropped him with a flurry of blows before the brawl was broken up.
As he ran at Lee, throwing a left hook, Lee in with a 5-punch combination, mate.
Smack, 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 smack.
And he was gone with the first shot. Absolutely KO'd him.
All of the stories about Lee knocking out Tito are 100% true. Pat and all the guys were there.
Others, including Ortiz himself, remember it differently.
Where apparently Tito Ortiz got knocked out by Lee Murray.
Not true at all. Lee Murray took a swing at me, missed. I took a swing at him, I clinched him, I kneed him. He clipped me, dropped me, and I popped right back up. Cops came, broke everybody apart. I was never unconscious at the time. In my whole career, I've never been unconscious. I think those stories were fabricated a lot to try to build Lee Murray up.
The rumor is that Tito got dropped. Did he get dropped or he slipped?
Okay, dress shoes on fighting on the street. And all I can say is, well, I didn't see it, so whatever happened. But when I turned around, when the cops showed up and I looked back, people were holding him back from chasing after the guy. So, I mean, trying to get to what's his name. So if you got dropped, there was this flash knockdown. It definitely could have been a slip.
Was that the only time you and Tito ever kind of like fought together?
Yeah.
Over the years, those who were there have told conflicting versions of what happened, but one thing everyone agrees on: that night cemented Lee Murray's reputation as one of the most volatile and feared men in MMA. The next morning, the story spread like wildfire. Lee Murray, the brash Brit, had knocked out the reigning UFC light heavyweight champion in a street fight. 3 months later, Murray was back in action. In September 2002, he faced Amir Ranavardi at Millennium Brawl 8.
The first one I had with him was against the guy, Amir Ranavardi. And I remember going out to do something, and I walked down, and the other guy's changing room was half glass. And I watched him warm up on the pads, and I just thought, okay. So I went back in the changing room. I said, Lee, left hook beats his keys. So straight away, as soon as you go out, bend the knees, throw the left hook.
The fight barely lasted a breath. Murray stormed forward at the opening bell and landed a thunderous hook that ended the contest in just 4 seconds, one of the fastest finishes in British MMA.
4.5 seconds, bing, gone, left hook. Just amazing. Amazing.
The lightning quick finish perfectly matched his growing nickname.
Where did the lightning come from?
When he hit, it looked like, like this old fastball.
Someone said, he's down to lightning.
It's what you saw, it's what you felt, it's what you envisioned every time.
To me and Terry as well was talking about nicknames, and then he said, there he is, Lightning.
Someone nicknamed him Lightning. He earned that name. And Lightning Lee Murray.
Riding high from the Ranavardi knockout, Murray's confidence was at an all-time peak. 3 months later, he faced seasoned Brazilian striker Jose Pele Landy Jones, a respected veteran known for his explosive stand-up game. In the second round, he countered with a clean right hand that sent Pele crashing to the canvas, out cold.
Lee Murray completely knock him out. See, what? You've only got to get touched by Lee, and that was it. It was lights out.
The crowd going absolutely mad with the announcement that Lee Murray is the new world light cruiserweight champion.
Just natural. He's a natural fighter. Hardest man who's ever walked in that door, Lee Murray, 100%.
That performance didn't just make headlines in the UK, it got the attention of the UFC.
So everybody's like, yeah, Dana's gonna call. And Dana called.
In January 2004, Murray made his debut at UFC 46 in Las Vegas, walking out in an orange prison jumpsuit and Hannibal Lecter mask.
When he come out, when we was in the changing room and he got the gear out and put it on, I went, what the fuck? I didn't even know. I didn't even know he was going to do it. I ain't going to tell him not. You know what I mean? It was mad. It was great.
The legend of Lee Murray was created that one night in London. Yes, it was. Lightning Lee Murray is a devastating striker. Nasty one-punch knockout, vicious right hand, and an angry street brawling guy.
It was absolutely electrifying. It was an experience for me, let alone him.
Against Jorge Rivera, he showed his evolution as a fighter, locking in a triangle choke and transitioning to an armbar for a first-round submission win.
This is a bad spot. Can he finish it? And it's all over. It's all over. Lee Murray by submission. Whoa. Well-rounded Lightning Lee Murray shows he's got ground skills to go with those nasty hands. Victory in his UFC debut. I'm the man, he says.
After defeating Jorge Rivera, Murray seized the microphone and called out Tito Ortiz, reigniting their unfinished rivalry from the London street fight months earlier.
Tell us your thoughts on your former street fighting opponent, Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz, if he wants to fight me here, I'll fight anybody. I don't care who they are, what they've done. I couldn't give a shit. Who they are, I will fight them. Oh, Tito's standing up. No matter what he says, my name's always going to be in the back of his head. Tito Ortiz, Lee Murray. Could that be something we see somewhere in the future?
The bold challenge grabbed headlines and cemented Murray's image as the fearless British brawler willing to take on anyone, even the UFC's reigning champion. The UFC was ready to offer him a lucrative contract.
There was no one was going to get more. I knew tonight was going to be my night. I've waited a long time for this. This is the day I've been waiting for.
It was all going well, until trouble found him back home. Just 1 month before his UFC debut, Murray was involved in a violent road rage incident on Christmas Day in England.
He's like cut up in front of me and smashed in front of my car.
He was driving with his pregnant wife and young child when another driver began acting aggressively, reportedly reversing his car toward Murray's vehicle with his family still inside.
That's when my dad just kind of lost it because he'd seen my mum on the floor hurt and she's screaming.
Enraged, Murray gave chase, forced the other driver to stop, and dragged him from his car. The beating was brutal. The man was left with a broken nose and a concussion.
Everyone sees their wife, 8-month pregnant wife on the floor, and the daughter in the car screaming, and he's just constantly ramming the car. Like, he's trying to kill my family. You know, I just protecting my family. I didn't do nothing more than what any other man would do.
The case went to court, but collapsed after a retrial, leaving Murray without a conviction. Yet, the damage was done. When the UFC tried to bring him back to America, his visa was denied because of his criminal record. Just as he was starting to break through, the door to the UFC slammed shut.
Lee was applying for a visa to go to America, and they cancelled his visa. They contacted the American authorities and said that Lee was on bail for attempted murder.
That was the end of fighting for the UFC.
His UFC career ended at 1-0.
If they hadn't have put the block on his card here on a trumped up load of rubbish so he couldn't get his green card to go out there, no way would he have done that robbery. He'd have been in the UFC. 100%. That was his dream. Yeah, I think Lee would have been something special. I think he'd have been a lot bigger than Conor McGregor.
Murray shifted his focus back to the UK scene. He still had the swagger, the power, and the belief that he could hang with the best in the world. That confidence set up his next challenge, a matchup with a young Brazilian phenom who would soon become one of the greatest fighters of all time, Anderson Silva. At Cage Rage 8 in London, Murray tore a Brazilian flag patch from Silva's shorts during the face-off, promising to knock him out just as he had Pele.
I remember Lee Murray picked up the Brazilian flag and put in the ground. Lee Murray, no respect my country. I think, why? This is sport.
But inside the cage, Silva's precision, striking, and composure proved too much.
Lightning Lee Murray was a bad motherfucker. He could fight his ass off. He was very good. And Anderson Silva beat the fucking brakes off of him.
Beat the brakes off
in
him.
London, in front of Lee Murray's hometown crowd, and did it with a certain gusto.
Murray showed heart and toughness, but lost by unanimous decision after 3 hard rounds. It would be the last time Lee Murray ever fought professionally. After the Silva fight, Murray's momentum stalled. The loss marked the end of his competitive run, and without the UFC or big paydays on the horizon, his focus began to drift. Away from the cage, his life was spiraling back toward the chaos he'd grown up around. In September 2005, that chaos came to a head. At London's upscale Funky Buddha nightclub, Murray was caught in a brawl that turned violent.
It was coming up to my 50th birthday, and then we went to this club where he'd been the week before, and he'd had a row with 6 rude boys. They was trying to have someone up, and he jumped in, and then they tried to stab him then, but he dealt with them. They banged them all out.
I heard there was an argument. Someone made a phone call, and then these people turned up at the club. He didn't instigate it, but he stood up for the people that were being, harassed or threatened. But you haven't got eyes in the back of your head, and someone come up from behind and plunged him.
Within moments, he was stabbed multiple times, once in the head and several times in the chest.
Someone just sneaked up behind me and stabbed me in the head. As I'm still fighting, and next minute, someone just stabbed me again.
The blood was just pumping out the side of him, and how he got through it, I don't know.
I just see blood spraying out the side of me. And I just got down on the floor, and Paul's come around and she goes, what's wrong? I said, someone stabbed me in the heart. And he's got me up, and there was a car. He was just about to pull out. There was 2 girls in the car. He's opened the car door and pushed me, and he's got, look, get into the hospital.
One knife strike punctured his lung and sliced an artery near his heart. He collapsed, blood spraying from his chest, and was rushed to hospital. On the operating table, he technically died 3 times before doctors revived him.
I'm sure they said it was 3 times that they had to resuscitate him.
In what became one of the most infamous attacks in MMA folklore, remarkably, he survived. When he woke in intensive care, swollen and scarred, he scribbled a single word on a notepad: warrior.
And I think he discharged himself after a week.
I actually ran into Lee Murray right after he got stabbed. It stabbed wounds all over him, and they were still fresh. Days after Lee Murray got stabbed. He was walking around a event with all the stitches still in him and everything still fresh. Lee Murray is one of the most legit gangsters of all time. He really is.
Murray returned to the gym within 3 weeks, but his fighting career was finished.
That fucked him. That finished him, as a fighter.
Covered in surgical scars, no commission would license him. At just 28 years old, the man who once looked destined for UFC stardom was out of the sport, and soon turned his attention to something far bigger, the crime that would make him infamous.
After that stabbing, I think that was his mentality was, I don't think I'm going to be fighting again for a while. He's got to heal up. So an opportunity came his way, and he took that opportunity.
I mean, he got stabbed a bunch of times.
That's crazy.
And should have died and lived, and then next thing he's hitting mitts, and then after that he's planning a bank robbery. What a fucking crazy.
What a fucking maniac.
Yeah, what a nut.
After his near-fatal stabbing, Murray moved from fighting to planning a score. He teamed with local fighter Leah Rusha and a small crew from his criminal circle. An inside man was recruited, security guard Amir Haisanai, who secretly filmed the depot and passed on access details. The gang hoarded police uniforms, body armor, weapons, disguises, and rented vehicles, including a 7.5-ton box truck they had used to haul the cash. In the early hours of 22nd February 2006, the plan unfolded. Posing as police, men in reflective jackets stopped manager Colin Dixon on the road, handcuffed him, and bundled him into a van. Another pair took his wife and young son from home and held the family hostage. Using Dixon's clearance, the raiders walked into the Tonbridge Securitas depot, overpowered staff without firing a shot, bound employees, and forced Dixon to open secure areas. For roughly 40 minutes, they loaded pallets of banknotes into the truck, sacks, duffels, and trolleys piled high. When they drove off into the night, the gang had taken about £53 million in cash. The hostages escaped and raised the alarm only after the robbers had gone, and Britain woke to one of its most audacious heists.
Britain's biggest ever robbery took place in the early hours of this morning in Kent.
It was a crime like no other. A raid on a cash depot during which robbers made off with an incredible £53 million. They'd held staff hostage before loading up a lorry with cages and even shopping trolleys full of banknotes.
The Bank of England confirmed that at least £25 million was taken, and it could be much more.
There was so much cash, the bandits needed a full hour to load it into their truck.
They've taken hostages. They've taken a young woman and her 8-year-old son and held them at gunpoint. They've terrorized 14 members of staff.
The robbery shocked Britain, but the cracks appeared quickly. Within days, police found abandoned vehicles, disguises, weapons, and millions in cash. A makeup artist who had supplied latex prosthetics turned informant, and surveillance linked the depot guard Haisanai to the inside job. Soon key crew members, including Rusha, Jetmir Bouchpapa, and others were arrested, and millions of pounds were recovered in garages and lockups. Murray, however, had vanished. 4 days after the heist, Murray and Paul Allen slipped across the channel, traveled through Europe, and reached Morocco, where Murray claimed citizenship through his father.
At the time, my dad was in Morocco. I spoke to him, and he said to come here.
That status meant he could not be extradited under Moroccan law. In Rabat, Murray and Paul Allen bought lavish mansions in one of Rabat's wealthiest districts and spent heavily on marble floors, gyms, and even a mural of his UFC win.
Did you see Lee Murray's fucking palace in Morocco? Like, he took the money and ran, bro. He made it.
It's like a 30 by 30 foot fucking mural.
But British pressure mounted, and Moroccan police tracked his every move. In June 2006, heavily armed officers surrounded him and his associates in a shopping mall. After a brief struggle, Murray, Allen, and others were arrested. Drugs and weapons were later found at his villa. Back in Britain, the net was tightening. In 2007 and 2008, several of Murray's crew faced trial at the Old Bailey. Leah Rusha, Jetmir Bouchpapa, Stuart Royal, and Roger Coots were all convicted and handed life sentences with minimum terms of 15 years. Inside man Amir Haisanaj received 20. Makeup artist Michelle Hogg escaped jail by turning state's witness. Paul Allen, extradited from Morocco, eventually pleaded guilty in 2009 and was sentenced to 18 years. Murray, protected from extradition by Moroccan citizenship, was tried there instead. In 2007, he first received 8 months for drugs and assaulting officers. Then in 2010, a Moroccan court convicted him for his role in the robbery, sentencing him to 10 years. On appeal, prosecutors argued it was too lenient.
The Kent police appealed the sentence. They didn't think that the 10 years was enough.
The court agreed and more than doubled his punishment, 25 years in prison.
Give him the 10, government here kicked off, give him another 15. Look, he committed a crime. No one died. They nicked a few quid. There's worse atrocities going on in this country now. People getting less prison, but worse things. Something's drastically wrong. It's corrupt.
I believe there was a deal done between both governments. The trial was historical. It's never happened before. He was the first person to be tried under British law in Morocco, so the British government will wash their hands of him.
Murray received the longest sentence of them all.
Why should I be doing 25 years when everyone's doing 15? Where's the justice in that? Many people that got 25 years are terrorists, murderers.
In Morocco,
there's no such thing as parole. You're in for a long time and you will never, you're not going to get out.
As prosecutors portrayed him as the mastermind who had planned and orchestrated the entire heist.
Have you seen the documentary Catching Lightning? The government here, in their power of wisdom, they're not letting it be shown. If you know Lee, his words are true. I mean, they're all saying he was the mastermind. How was he the mastermind? He didn't know that place existed. He didn't know that money was in there. Even the local police didn't know.
It was never my idea. I got asked to be involved in it. I weren't up for it in the beginning, but then obviously kept kept telling me that no one's going to get out, it's going to be so easy, it's going to walk in and walk out. It's kind of convinced me into doing it. This robbery was happening, whether I was involved or not. He made me out to be the mastermind. I wasn't a mastermind, I didn't have control of it, I was just involved just like anybody else. I wasn't the one that come up with the idea. I wasn't the one who lives in Tonbridge. I wasn't the one who knew where the depot manager lived. I wasn't the one who had someone who worked on, or some people who worked on the inside. I cannot be the mastermind.
Even behind bars, Murray's notoriety grew. In 2009, guards foiled an escape plot when they found hacksaw blades hidden in a packet of biscuits. He had been training to slim down so he could slip through the bars. He also smuggled phones, gave interviews boasting about prison life, and even fathered a child during a conjugal visit, sparking scandal.
He got a girl pregnant from jail. That's how strong his comm is.
These stunts saw him move to a high-security facility with tighter restrictions. As of today, Murray remains in a Moroccan prison, serving his 25-year sentence. He still trains daily and has spoken about returning to MMA if ever released, though that seems unlikely. More than £30 million from the heist has never been recovered.
£53 million was stolen that night. £23 million was recovered. Where do you reckon that 30 mil is right now?
I don't know. I think it's been turned into properties.
Lee Murray's story is one of squandered potential.
He actually said to me in a letter, what was the words he said? I'm sorry I didn't go all the way with you. I would have made you a rich man, he went. He said, because I know if I'd have done what you said, we would have gone a long way.
A fighter with the power to be a UFC star who instead became infamous as the mastermind of Britain's biggest cash robbery. His life, part crime thriller and part cautionary tale, continues to fascinate. A reminder of how ambition, violence, and the lure of fast money can turn a promising career into a criminal legacy.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. I just hope he's released soon and he's allowed to come home and be with his family.
To see the way he went and where he is now is such a shame.
If I could turn back the clock and change what I've done, no, I wouldn't change what I've done. I am who I am today, and I'm happy I am today. And back then I was a wild man. I didn't think right, I didn't think ahead, didn't think of the future. What I think now is totally different. I'm sorry to the victims of the robbery. I hurt our people, my own family as well. There's no way I could live outside and not be involved in MMA. My whole plan is to open a mountain to fight my life, fight in my blood.
Paul Allen is about to be seriously injured. Shots were fired at his home while he was standing in the kitchen. His attackers very nearly succeeded in killing him.
Mr. Allen was hit by 2 of the bullets. He survived the shooting, but he suffered life-changing injuries. Another bullet entered on a downwards trajectory at the front of his neck and lodged in his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed for life.